Hey guys, here, Gene. I'm going to be extremely busy over the next few days. I'm going to be going to Switzerland on the 26th of August. I'll be back at the end of August, so I expect to see quite a few scheduled videos of car v cars and whatnot, so the variety of content won't be there. So when I come back, I'll be obviously posting the usual stuff. Now, of course, right now we've got a Coquette Classic going against the Stinger GT. I'll be getting out all the other Sports Classic comparisons against this car that you guys want to see pretty soon, as well as the cars within this category that you haven't yet seen with comparisons. So starting off with the handling, we know the Coquette Classic pretty much tends to oversteer pretty much every single corner. It's quite difficult to control. It does take quite some bit of concentration to actually fully perfect this car, and to do a perfect lap is quite difficult. Hell of an oversteering car. At the same time, it does understeer if you don't pay attention to the braking points as well. But whereas on the other hand, the Stinger GT pretty much take these corners at high rates of speed because of its handling. It's pretty decent. The traction's decent, although it does tend to oversteer quite a bit if you just don't pay attention. Pretty much most of these cars in the Sports Classic oversteer, but this one is oversteers the least out of the Sports Classics, in my opinion. And pretty much from the feel of the car, you can take these corners at very high speeds. But the problem is the top speed does suck on a Stinger GT, but this sort of compensates for it. Acceleration, you see that the Coquette Classic does dominate. Obviously, it goes up to third gear only, but even with that being said, like I said, the Stinger GT has got absolutely horrible top speed, so it will not be keeping up with the Coquette Classic. So the Coquette Classic will also get a point for top speed as well, which is kind of interesting. So on a track, the Stinger GT can keep up, but you really need to sort of change your style of racing. When you're sort of taking corners, your braking points will be completely different. You can sort of just glide through and ease off your acceleration through the corners with the Stinger GT because of its turning circles. Absolutely amazing. And as I said, you got to pay attention to the oversteer, but doesn't oversteer as much as the other Sports Classic within this category. Of course, the Z-Type itself within its own class is just superior. But anyway, torque, Coquette Classic dominates there. Damage test, we know initial impact is $304, and the Stinger GT itself, interesting stuff here. It's pretty damn close, but initial impact it was quite a few times $300. So I'll put it there. Only 3.2, but customizable options, we know the Coquette Classic's got quite a few bumpers, one carbon hood, roll cage, and that's basically it. So obviously a few exhaust pipes on the ones on the side as well, which is pretty cool. This will get a point as well. Obviously we know Stinger GT has got hardly any whatsoever. It's got no customizable options, just like the Monroe. So that's going to make it 4.2, which will make it go down to the lap time test. Now the thing is, the lap time, as I said, is interesting because obviously Little Seoul as a track consists of a lot of corners, hardly any straights. So putting sort of all the factors together that we know so far from the information gathered, it turned out to be a pretty close lap time between both these cars. Came down to the millisecond. We know obviously acceleration, top speed dominates in the Coquette Classic, whereas on the Stinger GT it's just all about momentum around all these corners. So easing off your acceleration, hardly need to brake except for the ones with the tight corners where you obviously need to brake. But it's extremely easy to control the Stinger GT. But if you're going to use the Stinger GT on races where they consist a lot of straights and curvy straights, sorry, then it was not beneficial against the Coquette Classic. But on tracks like this, you can compete against it. As I said, it's quite easy to make mistakes with the Coquette Classic because it requires a lot of concentration. So if you're going with efficiency on smaller, shorter tracks like this with a lot of corners, go with the Stinger GT. But if you got what it takes to use the Coquette Classic, then go for that, because it's very similar between both these cars on a short track. Like I said, on the track that consists of a lot of straights and a lot of curvy straights, of course, the Coquette Classic will dominate. So what you see here, coming down to the wire here, turned out that the Classic takes it just a few milliseconds there apart from each other, which is kind of crazy. So 10 out of 10 for the Coquette Classic, 7 out of 10 for the Stinger GT. And as I said, those lap times were absolutely crazy close to each other. I think 0.462 for the Stinger GT, 0.385, and both of them were 107. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Check out Monroe vs Coquette Classic, which I posted yesterday. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Check your sign out. Good night, peace. Yeah.